They find me.
Is that right?
They find me.
Well, they even call me the big.
Is that the one where they do the
I say things all the time.
Yeah. So
I like
when you
the
look at
sizes.
Jazzy Jeff and the
So
Fresh
I give my friends books to read. I give them.
Handling your business.
1, 1, 2. Check me out right here, yo. Need to turn the track up a little bit for me. All up in my
Welcome
ear.
to Handling Your Business, and I'm your host,
Microphone,
Curtis Jones Jr., where we try to bring you the new thing, the urban thing, the entrepreneurial thing. And I'm truly blessed to have a young brother on the show today who has been inspiring to thousands and hundreds of thousands of young people in America. I've Reuben Harley here, and many of you know him as Big Rube, and he is the creator of the new throwback jersey that has taken the country by storm. And he's a guest on our show. Welcome to Handling Your Business.
Thank you.
Rube.
Glad to have.
I met this young man some years ago at West Philadelphia High School, and I was giving a speech to a class, and we were making an example of how a lot of young people, 1 out of 3, were either incarcerated on probation or in jail. And I said, look around you, look to your left, look to your right, that means one of you. And Rube came up to me after that event and said, definitely it wasn't going to be him, and he proved it right. It's easy to say now that you're a millionaire.
Yeah. But I mean, it was hard work, you know. And nothing's easy, you know. If it was easy, everybody be doing it. So, you know, I like the mountains that I climbed, and you know, the triumphs that I got over to get to where I'm at today. And you know, it's just thanks to my foundation that I had at home.
Now, your story is an urban legend now in Philadelphia, but tell our listeners how you came up with the concept.
Since I was 17, when I in 1991, when I was busting tables and waiting tables at hotel and just doing odds and end jobs, I always liked sports, and I loved the nostalgic of the sport, you know, baseball, and buying the jerseys I was putting on layaway. And over the years, I was just collecting them, and I just saw like certain rappers, especially Outkast, they was wearing it in a video, and this company was in my backyard that nobody knew about. So, you know, I just came up with the vision that I just, you know, the owner that I knew, Peter Capolino, he didn't know, you know, how to attack this market, and you know, it was just, I wanted to do it. My market savviness, I said, you know, I'm going to take this company to the next level.
Now, what drove a West Philly young person to go to a 100-year-old company and say, I got the next new thing for you? I mean, how did you come up with that?
It was just, I mean, really, it was just the knowledge of sports. You know, every, like, guys that I know that when I grew up, they all know that I'm like a sports encyclopedia. And just knowing the uniforms and the time period, it was just a perfect mix. And, you know, the gentleman, Peter Capolino, President Mitchell Ness, he just knew and trusted on me because I was always a businessman, scooping water ice, selling cakes and lasagna at local barbershops and hair salon. So he knew my dedication. And, you know, after, you know, with some reluctancy, he gave me, you know, we came to a contract, and it was, I went off and said what I was going to do.
So you brought the concept to him. I mean,
Yeah.
what was his initial reaction?
It was like, you know, you crazy. Like, you know what I mean? What you know about, you know what I mean? His whole thing is like, how you going to blow my company up. You know, he owned it, but it was just like I said, I can get it on the right people and put it in the right places that everybody gonna know who this sleeping giant is. And you know, I went on my mission. You know, going to clubs and meet record companies and video shoots and just like bogarting it, like. You know, look, y'all gotta know, you know what I mean, what this product is, you know, and just...
Truly guerrilla marketing.
Yes.
Different from the top-down advertising agency thing.
Yeah,
You took it from the bottom to the top.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, when you did that, you took that company from one position, how much were they making?
They had grossed about $2 million the year before I came, and then we went up to 4.5, then to 23 million. Then this past year, we grossed 43 million in sales.
To the degree that the sports stars now come to Mitchell & Ness whenever they're in Philly
Yes.
to get their particular jersey and whatever. How do you know which one's going to be? I know you know sports, but how do you know this jersey versus that jersey this year?
It's just like just seeing the silhouettes of the jersey, especially like the star power of the player. You know, guys, the heroes from your past that people just still have in mind to this day. You know, it's automatic. A Julius Erving from the Sixers, you know, that colorful red, white, and blue jersey, and just his name and star power. And, you know, it's just like, and then the way we make it, we don't reproduce that many, and it's high end.
So it's a limited edition.
To the way that, you know, that player and the team wore it at that time. So it's real special.
Now, do colors have anything to do with it? Are some colors hotter than others?
Well, you know, that's why sports teams are always colorful. You know, they wanted the pop to the fans. So, you know, color is everything. Yeah.
Now, how much of an impact do young people have on that urban wear industry?
Oh, huge. I mean, we're the trendsetters. The hip hop young urban market is just, you know, and you just look at how the world is, how they transcend. They look at the inner city, the changing, and how everybody walk and talk. You know, hip hop is the world, it's the lifestyle.
So it's transcended music to fashion to culture almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hitting the suburbs in a big way.
Yeah, that's, you know, like I said, I'm from the hip hop generation. You know, I walk and talk hip hop. That's why, you know, I was able, you know, because everybody know in rap lyrics, you know, is a brash way of talking, and you know, just my brash way of talking of convincing Mitchell & Ness and, you know, these rappers and athletes to like, look, you know, this is Mitchell & Ness. Get turned on to it.
You've done a good job at that.
Thank you.
Well, now that we have you, share with our audience what the next big thing is going to be.
Well, the next big thing is, you know, with Mitchell & Ness, we came out with our own branding line. You're going to be able to purchase T-shirts, hats, sweatsuits, shorts with Mitchell & Ness, and I have my own venture called R. Harley, named it after myself, and it's going to be an upscale men's line with jeans, wovens, sweaters, suits. So, you know,
So it's going to be a little urban, but a little classic.
Yeah,
mix?
yeah. Basically, you know, I wear, you know, nice suits when I go to meetings and you know, nice jeans. So, you know, I just want to translate that into my own brand. So,
I know you had the idea, and I know you had the eye for the fashion.
yeah.
Has Mitchell & Ness taught you the business side on how much a T-shirt should cost and what the markup should be?
Oh yeah.
What did you learn from them?
Yeah, well, I already had that in mind when I was running my own business. You know, selling my plates of lasagna and my cake. So, you know, just buying it at wholesale, and so that wasn't. It was just basically into the garment district, the nitty gritty of, you know, how many units you had to purchase for a cost to be, you know, at a certain level and the markup to, you know, retail. So that, you know, I really got savvy with that. But, you know, other than that, just business, you know, I was doing that for years.
Always. Yeah. So I understand that there are other companies that have followed Mitchell & Ness to try to copycat your success. Is that true?
Yeah, it's real humbling because the other day I did a TV show in New York, and, you know, this guy, he was saying, he was like, you know, he said, you got to take pride in the fact that you changed a $1 billion industry from this company in Philly to, you know, Nikes, the Reeboks, the Starl & Deans, and just a whole slew of companies wanting to make a jersey that tries to tie into, you know, what yours look like, but their own company. And it's just, I mean, from sneakers to headwear, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, damn, I'm just a cat from West Philly. Like, how did, you know, but at the end of the day, your vision, you know, is everything.
One of the things that you've done is change the whole game, and what it has proven is that a lot of the styles, a lot of the fashions don't come from Madison Avenue. It comes from the heart of inner city communities like North Philly, Southwest Philly, and other places, and that those ideas born in a basement can go to Wall Street like you did.
Yes,
That's a beautiful thing, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I keep dreaming. You know, your dreams is everything. When you stop dreaming, you have nothing. Because, I mean, who would have known? But, you know, your dreams and hard work, anything's possible.
So explain to the audience the rubber band thing.
Yes, these are rubber bands that, you know, a lot of ball players use. And, you know, for general people, they always ask, like, why do, you know, athletes wear rubber bands? And, you know, that's when a guy's not into the game, he just snaps himself to keep him motivated. Because once you snap it, like what I did just now, it, like, you know, took me there, shocked me. So I went to go speak to this school where a lot of juvenile delinquents were. It was called St. Gabe's in Audubon, Pennsylvania. And I gave each one of them, when I told them, when you feeling down and sorrow, just snap yourself and keep yourself motivated, because I think that's what our youth need, you know, because they are the future. And, you know, just if you could save 1, 5, or 20, it's just, you know, because I had a gentleman like you know, speak to me, and, you know, that goes a long way, because, I mean, I'm here for them at the end of the day.
One of the things with your success, you keep it, as they say, real, and it serves as an example to those young people that they can do it too.
Yeah.
And I know, because of the events that I've seen you at, that you give back to the community and give away a lot of things and give away a lot of your time speaking to young people, and that's important.
And honestly, that means more to me than like partying with athletes and doing other things, because I know that somebody that took time to, like, you know, when I was in high school, people took out of their time that they don't really have to do. You know, they had a certain plateau, but that means to me that I'm, you know, getting to see and get that message. I mean, I've been speaking at universities and career days, like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, damn, you know, I'm like, I'm just another guy, but, you know, just to just reach out to people and say that I inspire them, that means so much to me.
If people want to contact you, where can they reach you at?
I have an email address. It's Harley, Harley, R as in Ruben, at Mitchell, MITCHELL, and AND, Ness, NESS.com.
Well, I know that we're going to see more great things from you in the future, and that your next idea will be the next big thing, and you keep changing the game like you're doing in a positive way. And we thank you and we appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, man.
You're welcome.
Well, it shows that a West Philadelphia boy can make good and change the world of fashion. He can do it, you can do it too. Follow your dreams and handle your business. Hi, I'm Curtis Jones Jr. with your Business Tip of the Week. Without a written business plan, your business is actually planning to fail. A business plan provides you with a roadmap to success. It allows you and others to critically assess where your business operation is in areas such as cash flow, marketing, and most importantly, cost controls. So, if your business idea is worthwhile, it's worth writing down. Welcome to the National Hip Hop Convention, better suited to be called the National Hip Hop Political Convention, where a generation of music goers have transitioned into the political arena and are putting together an agenda which will be the measuring stick for local candidates, statewide candidates, and national candidates respectively. I'm here with some of the organizers and delegates of that convention, and I guess I'll put the question out to all of you. What is the purpose of this convention?
I'll lead by saying the purpose of the convention is to vote on, adopt, and endorse a national political agenda for the hip-hop generation, and more specifically, people 18 to 35. After doing so, we're going to go back in our prospective cities, prospective states, and encourage that demographic to become fully engaged and involved in the electoral politics of their community.
Why do you guys feel it's necessary for music purists to be conscious enough to get into the political arena?
The influence that hip-hop has. Hip-hop is not music. It's a culture of which rap is just a part of it, but it's very, very far-reaching culture. 70% of hip-hop is purchased by people who do not look like any of the delegates right here. And a lot of these people, their only impressions of African-American culture is through this music. So you never quite know who you're reaching and who you're affecting through that. So if we could come up with a one solid foundation, one voice, and spread it out through the music, it'll disseminate throughout the society and culture and have much farther reach and influence than we can ever imagine.
I think in addition to that, music itself, especially now, is a reflection of what's going on in the community. So music purists who understand the message and the power of music understand that it moves people to do certain things. And we've seen that reflected in a number of different ways. So here, as members of the hip-hop generation, as he said, it's not just the music, it's the culture. But for those who are music purists, to answer your question, it's kind of a way to use your power for good, to influence and create a better community, recognizing the power that music has.
So are some of the lyrics reflective of the communities that the artists come from? And is it a mirror of culture in some inner city communities? And is that translated now into an action step by you guys to change that?
Real quick, just to clarify, it's not just about hip-hop the music, it's hip-hop the generation. So that means music, business, politics, community, all of those things. So while we talk about music and we want to answer your question, the clear thing to know is that it's about the generation and about our activity on a communal level, on a political level, and taking our agenda and making it real wherever we go. Here in the States, across the world, locally where we're at, that's what it's about.
How has the music affected the culture in all of those different spheres, like business and otherwise?
We recognize that hip-hop is a billion-dollar industry that we contribute to. So it's time for us to take control of the industry that we have and making it work effectively for our causes and our needs in our prospective community. And it's also an education process and an understanding process this whole week of that there's politics in the industry that our artists face. So therefore we have to be supportive of them as we're asking them to be supportive of us.
What kind of politics do the artists face?
Oh, some of these artists don't feel comfortable about profanity language or the obscenity in the videos, but it's because of who they work for and writes a check is why they have to do it. It's also understanding distribution. You know, how many African American and Latino distributors are there out here to distribute their music, to encourage that? So if the distributor says, nah, man, this is too conscious, we can't do this, then it don't get out on the street.
So beyond the music, also I understand that you've impacted fashion. Many artists are going into business. You're talking about distribution by way of controlling the distribution and the money rights that go into that. How should the political leaders view your agenda, and what things can they look forward to having to address?
I think the political leaders should view our agenda as a litmus test to where they stand. Pretty much after we establish this agenda and we bring this before folks who, whether they are elected officials, aspire to be elected officials, we will ask them where they stand on our agenda, and based on where they stand on our agenda, we'll let them know where we stand on them.
What is that agenda?
Well, at this point, we're still at state caucus level, And tomorrow we'll be going into a national level to determine what that agenda will be. The prospective cities or states have come together with their state agendas, and once we consolidate those state agendas, we'll be voting on a national agenda, very similar to perhaps other caucuses, Democratic and Republican alike. Essentially, this is a plebiscite, a collective political voice of activists, professionals, et cetera, members of the hip-hop generation coming together to say, we're going to vote on again, adopt and then endorse an agenda. But what that is right now, today, we haven't voted on, or we've yet to determine what that is.
What are some of the workshop subjects that you have here at this convention?
The workshops that we have for the convention deal with equality. We're talking about women in politics, women in leadership. There are workshops that reflect the criminal justice system, understanding black-on-black crime, gang relation, gang peace in the streets. There are also workshops on just how to register people to vote, understanding how to go about it, and once you register them, educating them. How do you go about educating? How do you mobilize them to get them to the polls, which is going to be crucial, especially for this year. As I've been saying, you know, we're not going to wait on the presidential candidates to come mobilize us. We're going to mobilize ourselves. That's what it's about. Economics. That's right.
Okay, where are you guys from, and how many people did you bring, and how did you get them to buy into this agenda?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm very proud to be a part of this process. I brought a lot of people down with me, but more importantly, it gives us a collective voice. You know, every group needs a commonality in order to express themselves, in order to get their needs met. And this is our commonality through hip hop. So it gives people a voice to collectively be a part of the whole, which will be the national agenda. And this will be our approach to politicians, saying like, look, this is what we want. If you want to abide by it, cool, you'll get our vote. If you don't, then we'll take our vote elsewhere, the same way unions do, the same way other parties do. So we just want to be looked at as a very important vote that we have been taking for granted in the past. And I think that you know, we can have more control over our future. We have a lot of circumstances that we live under that we accept. We complain about afterwards, but we accept the circumstances. Well, I think it's time that we collectively unite and make a difference on those circumstances so that we can have more positive outcomes.
Anybody have any additional comments?
In addition to what my partner Mark Baxter said, you know, as a community, as a hip-hop generation, we've been conditioned to be more reactive than proactive. When things happen, we complain, as opposed to this step here, like Brother Will Mega. Well, I came down with him, this brother here today. He actually organized us in Philadelphia and brought us down here today to join a bigger cause, which is the, you know, National Hip-Hop Convention. And right there, right now today, this is a proactive step to get the issues that we want to address and get the candidates that we want in office instead of people that's being rammed down our throats, all right?
You talk a lot about the political agenda. What about the economic agenda? How are you going to step to them and change that process?
Well, you can't talk about politics without talking about economics. So the two things go hand in hand. So one, in terms of understanding our buying power, where we spend money, how we spend money, why we spend money, when we spend money. As we increase our consciousness from a political level, it'll definitely have an impact on the economic level. You talked earlier, you asked questions about industry and industry that hip hop is produced and things that are happening globally. Well, we understand that we control those things. There are a lot of us here who are entrepreneurs, who are involved in politics, who are working in school and various sectors where money is always a driving and determining force. So as you kind of collectively build consciousness and unify that consciousness, then you affect every single area that you go into. So when we talk about our vote, that's one thing, but we also talk about how we vote with our dollar and where we support and where we spend and how we do. So those two things go hand in hand, and we couldn't talk about politics without talking about money, because as you know, politics is redistribution of money. So we want to make sure that money is redistributed or distributed where it should be in communities that need it. And that's one of the things that stays true to kind of the origin of hip hop, is that we kind of speak for those who have traditionally not been heard or involved in the process, whether we opted out, you know, on our own or whether we were forced out. So now we're forcing our way in and establishing our own and making sure that people recognize that, respect that, and then pay heed to it. If not, we're going to keep moving, because this is the beginning of a larger movement.
Let me just piggyback on the question you just said about where we're from. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. We have 47 delegates, but we have approximately 72 people here. And one of the ways we got them to buy into it is just we kept it real. It's peer-to-peer. I'm not in any suit talking to people. I'm on the streets talking to people. And then we don't use a bunch of big words and we just talking hip-hop, keeping it real, and that's all we've been doing. And I think all of us have been doing that. They're not looking for the stuffed shirts anymore to come talk about it. They're looking just for the average person to just come out and just talk about it.
Any closing comments from
I think actually this is something that's well overdue with the current era of globalization, industry consolidation across the board, you know what I'm saying, conglomeration. We the last ones to get on it, but we done sat down, watched, learned, took notes, and basically what we gonna do is every city we went to on the trip from Chicago, everybody looks the same, everybody talks the same, it's a common global culture. The sad thing is, the tragedy is we taking the negative aspects and spread them throughout the culture. What I'm hoping is once we come up with this agenda, we can spread this common positive aspect through this globalization and we could turn it on their heads.
Bottom line is the empowerment of the people that have birthed hip-hop, the exploitation, the bringing that to the surface and allowing those people that are benefiting off of hip-hop, that are living in wealthy homes, that are making decisions based upon a culture of people that has been perverted through the mainstream of hip-hop, to take that back and to change it around so that we can use hip-hop for two venues, empowerment and entrepreneurship, because that's what it's going to take for the people of the hip-hop generation to take back what is so rightfully ours, because it has come from us. And that's basically the bottom line of why we're here for this hip-hop agenda. That's to take back our music, to take back our culture, and to begin to demand, begin to implement, and begin to innovate off of hip-hop in every venue, in every aspect of life, not just the music industry.
And then to recognize that this is a continuation of all movements, people who struggle for righteousness, for justice, and for truth. All those over 42. I mean, this is the next generation. It's the next wave. There's generations behind us. So it's not a separate type of thing. As we mature as a generation and we step into leadership roles and step into spheres of influence and recognize those spheres of influence that we already were in but didn't know that we had, we simply now join, generations and centuries of people who always were fighting for truth and fighting for the needs of the people. So that is what we're involved in, and it happens to come under the banner of hip hop because that's the cultural expression, the cultural evolution of where we're at, and we'll continue on and teach that to our children, to our nieces, and then continue on down the line for generations to come.